All right, guys, we're going to start. Confirm that you can see
Okay.
the screen.
Yes, we can see the screen.
Okay. I'll go first.
Don't forget to make a video of yourself first, as you introduce yourself.
Okay. Confirm that you're able to see me.
Yes, we can see you.
My name is Nakunda Peruth, and I'll be taking you through the remedies that the Ministry of Defense and Veterans can put in place to avoid whatever they faced in the case scenario that we were given. Let me mute my video at the moment so that the network is stable. We shall go through effective planning. This is needed before implementation of any procurement strategy. The Ministry of Defense and Veteran must focus on looking for a provider whose operations are up to the required standards, and this falls under effective planning. We also need to look at automated technologies. In this day and age, the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs must implement the automated technologies in the operations of the procurement process. It should be aware of the latest procurement trends and service provider agencies, and this can be done through artificial intelligence, blockchain, and other digital procurement technologies. We also looked at initiating sourcing operations. The Ministry of Defense should ponder the supply chain before initiating any sourcing operations. It will be a better decision to go with the international companies. Point number 4, we should focus on quality assurance and specifications. In this purchase of uniforms, the Ministry of Defense should have focused or must focus on the quality and the need to meet the real specifications. Quality assurance is very key in the global level development, and this must be strict, and it should stick to the specification parameters. At this time, I'll give it up to Philip to take it on.
Yes, good evening, members. I don't know if you can see my face or it's dark.
You are in darkness, but we can see you, sir.
So I'm going to add on what Peru said. So I'll begin with prioritize companies with knowledge for Ugandan market. And here the Ministry of Defense is supposed or was supposed to look at companies that have already done supply in Uganda, the companies that understand the market in Uganda, they understand the taxation policies in Uganda, understand the specifications in sizes of Africans, specifically East Africa and in Uganda. For example, they can look at these other ministries, let's say, for example, like CAA, those companies that supply them, uniforms, or any other governmental parastatal that deals in uniforms. So they are supposed to maybe they would have looked at those companies that did those supply and they contact those companies. Then we also have one of the remedy is adherence to global quality standards. So, like, they are supposed to domestic production quality requirements, of course, vary from place to place. For example, the size the sizes of clothing in Uganda or Africa is not the same as the sizing of clothing in the UK and in the US and in China or Asia. So you find the sizes vary. The 44 in shoes in Uganda is like 46, is like 42 in China or Asia. So they are supposed to adhere to those quality standards, even the standards of uniforms. For example, they're supposed in material, in the quantity of cotton, the percentage, they're supposed to follow those standards of the ISO 9001 standards. ISO 9001, yeah. So like what percentage of cotton is supposed to be in a uniform? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, next point.
Next slide.
So they were supposed to do a background research. The ministry, as you know now, we have the internet all over. For example, to avoid certain scenarios whereby you're giving the contract to a ghost company, a company that is not tax adherent in their country, a company that does not even produce the uniform. So you're supposed, before you do a procurement, before they did a procurement, they would have made a background research, or they should always make a background research on the company before they award it a contract. Back in their countries, they can even do, there are portals that allow them in the other country that can allow them search for certain companies, see that they are capable of producing the right specification that they need. They are capable of producing the right amounts that they need, and they are capable of delivering in outside countries. And even if they are licensed to export to different countries.
Supply chain.
Then another first thing is the sourcing company or partner specialists. For example, we have specialists, we have consultants in importing, we have consultants in taxation, we have consultants in sourcing. So the Ministry of Defense and Ministry of Defense is supposed to look at, is supposed to involve in a third party. If they cannot handle the procurement, that's it. If they cannot do it on a ministry level, then they can handle a third party or a company or a consultancy firm that can help them import those uniforms, so that that firm is well conversant with the specifications, the standards, and they are well conversant with the companies that, as in they're in the business for so long and they understand it so well. So they are supposed to, they can source as a remedy, they can source for that company so that they can really help them out so that they don't mess up with the specifications. Then also clarity in communication. Of course, communication is key in every procurement activity, because now I might want a specification, and if I don't communicate it to the supplier, or if I don't agree on the supplier, if the supplier does not send me what they really have, and we have like a pre-bid meeting and agree on this and this and this and this and this, then we are not going to achieve what we really want. So there should be, as a remedy, there should be effective communication in every step of the procurement. So they are supposed to be open on what exactly they want, on what qualities, on what specifications, on what sizes, so as not to mess up. Next point. Thank you so much.
Can we have Joel now take on the lesson learned from COVID-19 pandemic?
Yes, hello. I hope you can see me.
Yes, we can.
I want to Thank you, especially the two participants. This is Joel, Alutia Joel, number 3 on the front page, and I want to take you through the lessons that companies that are involved in global value chain have learned from the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, I'll start by briefly explaining what global value chain means. We are saying that global value chain refers to international production sharing. This is where production activity are divided or broken into different activity and tasks carried out in different countries. A very good example to highlight this concept is the production of bombardiers in Canada. We have seen that most of the parts that are used to assemble these bombardiers in Canada come from different geographical location, and these the locations are very much specialized in giving these specific parts. And we are saying that the global value chain operations are spread across national borders, and the products that they're involved in most cases are of high complexity. And now I want us to look at some of the lessons that these companies that are engaged in global value chain have learned. And we are saying that one of the lessons is companies, thank you. Hello, you take me back to the first slide. Thank you very much. We are saying that companies have explored option for multiple sourcing. With the pandemic that just happened, it spotlighted the risk management around sourcing. And so companies have learned that it's very, very substantial for companies to have more than one sourcing point, because if one point is paralyzed, then the chain is able to continue with other sourcing, given that the company has many other sourcing points. Please, Perus, take me to another slide. Thank you. We are also saying that because of this scourge, the companies have also learned that it's very important to expand the geographical diversity, or what we are calling geographical diversification. Because of China's role as the world's factory, we realize that the scourge had a very massive impact on the global supply chain around the globe. This was so much disastrous that company had to learn that it's very, very important to diversify, especially when it comes to the upstream arrangement, where companies have to source raw materials for their various processes. Then the other point we are saying is that the companies that are involved in a global value chain have been able to learn how to invest in new supply chain technologies. New supply chain technologies, we are simply saying that it's very important to know that in a system of a supply chain, there are about 3 pillars. These pillars involve people, processes, and technology. But with the recent scourge, we realized that about 2 pillars, especially the people and the processes, were disastrously hit, leaving companies in this global value chain no choice other than concentrating on technologies which have helped to overcome problems such as government lockdowns, quarantine, transport disruption, and also health risks and other unusual interruptions. And because of that, the companies have tried to engage in more advanced technological systems in terms of logistics and transportation. And then we are also saying that the companies have also learned to develop a supply chain resilience strategy. A strategy, we are simply saying that the companies are in position to withstand this long-lasting disruption in the chain. Companies have learned to come up with the contingency plan, what we call plan B. They have plans for production, inventory, lead times, and logistics. Another issue here is that the companies have also picked a leaf of improving the cross-sectional, or rather the cross-divisional collaborations. Cross-divisional collaborations, we are simply looking at how different companies can involve other companies in managing processes. For example, here we are saying a company with different company with the probably similar operations, but with a very vibrant other division to try, in terms of communication, to try to make sure that there is no gap between the teams in ensuring that there is sustainability in the supply chain. Please, Peruth, take me to another slide. Thank you very much. We are also saying that companies have also learned to execute a predictive supply chain risk management initiative. Here we are saying that because of the scourge, companies have realized that it's very, very significant. It's very, very significant to take on the supply chain management programs, which can help to relax the severity of the effects of COVID-19. And the management, rather the risk management program may include use of technology and the teams that are involved in this process. Sourcing shortages, natural disasters, or geographical changes. Oh, please, somebody mute. Thank you very much. And then we're also saying that companies have also learned, especially those involved in the global value chain, they have also learned to find more meaningful manufacturing partners. Here we are simply saying that with the scourge, it has been very difficult for some companies to locate or to find other source of supply in terms of raw material. But with a well-established partnership with other manufacturing suppliers in other regions, these people, we know that they are well connected and they know people who are doing the same manufacturing or supplying business. And these partners can, in one way or the other, avail information on how companies can get this required material from other sources other than doing it on their own. And lastly, we are saying that because of this scourge and because of its impactful nature, companies have learned to look out for dependable suppliers who can ensure a 24/7 supply of required raw material, which has enabled continuity and smooth operation of business. I want to thank you very much. And I'm going to, at this very moment, invite my other colleague, to present to us strategies that we can put in place to ensure continuity in business.
Thank you so much, Joel. Let me first turn on the video. Yeah, I hope you can see me. This is Manuela Libedu. I will be presenting with my other colleague, Damali, on a range of strategy options that can be designed and implemented by organizations to survive demise now and in the future of a similar and even much worse pandemics like COVID-19. So to begin with, just a minute. The companies can avoid demise of such pandemics like COVID-19 by conducting an internal supply chain audit. Internal supply chain audit is a great way to evaluate and possibly improve supply chain, and as such to ensure resilience and robustness. So this will reduce operations costs and increase competitive advantage where possible during these times of disruptions. So we are saying that the goal of the audit is to help you find weaknesses within your supply chain and correct disruption points, bottlenecks, to increase supply chain flexibility, agility, and overall efficiency. Point number 2 is diversify suppliers. Well, we are saying that diversification sounds easy, but finding an alternative manufacturer or distributor can be difficult, depending on the product. With many suppliers and products originating from China, finding an alternative outside of China may be a bit tricky, but not impossible. However, diversification can help in absorbing such shocks. Point number 3 is that companies should also look into alternative manufacturing methods. Some supply chains, along with their manufacturing processes, are under serious threat because of this pandemic. So companies are overwhelmed by the demand. So therefore, it may be worthwhile looking into newer technologies where supply chains are digitally enabled. There is always great visibility in real time. Therefore, a backup plan can be quickly deployed. And as such, switching to a different manufacturing method, such as Lean and Six Sigma, could mean a difference in getting a part and getting on with business. The next point is the substitute product just to get through. So we are saying that another option for companies to overcome supply chain disruption is to launch new products. It's a good idea to analyze customers' purchase history and then choosing complementary or similar goods, which will help them. The next point is companies should ensure that they keep a close eye on their stock levels. During such pressing times, many businesses usually avoid buying too much stock. However, the just-in-time strategy does not always work, especially when suppliers cannot ship the products due to lockdowns. Therefore, it is important to understand the demand impact specific to the company, business, and industries. The next point is that companies should adopt alternative distribution channels. As many retail outlets have closed due to the requirements for social distancing, inclusive businesses, like other businesses, are now ensuring continued access by offering their products and services online. This is basically to enable business to consumer deliveries. Inclusive retailers are partnering with small transportation companies that deliver goods via motorcycles and other simple means to ensure that their goods reach their customers. Adapt the products or service to help small farmers and micro distributors or retailers in their value chains to continue operating. Some inclusive businesses are modifying their products and service offerings. So members, with this, let me allow my colleague Damali to continue with the strategy options. Thank you very much. Damali, over to you.
Hello. Parrot, can you please share the screen?
Guys, are you not able to see the screen?
Damali, the screen is shared.
I'm not seeing it. Anyway, let me just. I'm Damali Babidi, and I'm going about Manuela was explaining. Yeah. Well, with the range of strategies put together, 7, a range of strategies which are put together this COVID period. Well, there is a point of supply chain engineering. With this supply chain engineering, there is supply chain mapping. An organization should have a map or a structure when planning supply chain in order to follow the channel distributions, where the product is being purchased from, and where it will be placed. Then there is another point for supply chain collaboration. With this supply chain collaboration, there should be information sharing when carrying out the procurement, so that someone is able to know what process and what kind of situation will be involved in. Then supply chain risk management culture. In supply chain, when carrying out supply chain, risk assessment should be also carried out. All risks should be considered to incur when carrying out the supply chain. So someone has to have a backup plan if a risk emerges. Then companies should also focus on planning on only what adds value to the company. When you plan what adds value to a company, there is always success. And you also know what a company will gain. Then establishing long-term relationship with the supplier. In this point, when an organization establishes a long-term relationship with a supplier, in case of an emergency, when this supplier doesn't have what to supply to a company, if there is that relationship, obviously they will have other suppliers who are readily available to supply at the same conditions the organizations were inquiring with the other supplier. Slide 8. Then companies should also consider products, purchase investing products in buffer stocks. In this way, there is always extra products to be used in the company. And companies should also promote agility by, for example, like proposing new, should also invest in reduces. In this point, like companies should invest more in recovery instead of waiting for the situation to come to normal. They should put up like, they should put up things to make them come out of the situation first, make the business stand out. Then diversification of supplier base. For example, a company sources out from multiple suppliers, not only one supplier. Then having backup suppliers at ready. No, oh, this is a repeating. The same as diversification. Then prepare for the worst with risk management, whereby here there is always a backup plan in case of a risk. Then you share responsibility by including partners. In this process, partners may have better ideas than the people in the organization, and may be also more exposed than the workers. This all involves management. In this case, you can to mitigate the risks that incur from the procurement that will be made, or the situation that has arisen. Thank you. That's all I had. I'll invite you to make a conclusion.
Thank you so much, Damali, for that presentation. Joel, in less than maybe 2 minutes. Forgive me about that. You can do a conclusion and yeah.
Oh, thank you very much, Peruth and the other members for such a wonderful presentation. But giving a final thought, I would say that all in all, as a company that first of all that is involved in global value chain, it's very, very important that we concern ourselves with resiliency and more robust methods of remaining unshaken, especially when there are busy pandemic in the system or in the chain. And just like we have said, that it's very important for companies that seek to meet their customers' needs and demand to create very, very, very close relationship with the suppliers. You see that suppliers are very important. With that relationship, they can put you number one in their planning. You can also involve them in your planning. And we have also seen that it's very important to have backup plans. Those are plan B. And we have also seen that it's very important to review the risks, because risks, these are things that are foreseen. However, with periodical reviews, it's very possible that you can be able to mitigate some of them. I think with that, but not forgetting agility. You know, agility, this is simply the ease with which the company can change from one system to another without it's also a very important. We can also look at the strategies like lean production, Sigma concept, not forgetting alignment, that companies should also align themselves, and then also companies that can enable us to stand. With those few, I would like to thank you, all of you, for your wonderful participation. And thank you very much. Back to you, Peruth.